We have just now seen the Astro soil classification system and unified soil classification system. So now we'll go ahead with the third way of classifying a soil, which are defined in the Indian Standard Code. So it is Indian Standard Soil Classification System. So it is abbreviated as ISCS, Indian Standard Soil Classification System. So Indian standard codes have adopted, as I've discussed earlier, USCS. That means they have adopted unified soil classification system. So the classification of coarse-grained soil, I'll write it in short form, for coarse-grained soil are similar to that of unified soil classification system. So I'll briefly discuss how to classify a coarse-grained soil. So in order to classify coarse-grained soil, you must be confirmed that the given soil is coarse-grained. So how to ensure the soil is coarse-grained? You need to sieve it through US sieve number 200. So I'll not say US sieve number 200. I'll just say 75 micron sieve. And if you have more than 50% of the material is retained, more than 15% soil is retained on 75 micron sieve. If this condition is satisfied, then we call it as coarse-grained soil. So once you're confirmed with this condition that you'll end up at the coarse-grained soil, then again you will be selecting 4.75 mm sieve, and you are again running out your sieve analysis based on this coarser fraction. So for this coarser fraction, if more than 15%, more than 50% of soil is retained on 4.75 mm sieve, then we call it as the gravels, right? Or I call it as gravelly soil. And if this condition fails, and vice versa, I will write it back to this end. If more than 50% of a soil is passing through 4.75 mm sieve, then you'll denote it as, or you will classify the soil as a sandy soil. So for this, you have got more than 50% of soil is passing through, here it is retained, here it is passing through 4.75 mm sieve. Then you'll tell that it is a sand. So if this condition satisfies, so this is coarse-grained, soil classification. And for this coarse-grained soil classification, again what you will be doing, you will be running out the sieve analysis, and you will be plotting a smart curve, that is grain size distribution curve. And based on this curve, you will be evaluating three values. That means effective size of grain, D30, that means a particle size of which 30% are finer than that size, and D60. So remember here D10 is nothing but your effective size, and D30 is nothing but a size, or I will refer to as the size of the particles below which there are 30% fines. So 30% of soil is finer than this size. That's what it's mean by D30. And similarly for D60, it's 60% of the soil is finer than this size. So all the meaning is same. And after evaluating all these three parameters, D10, D30 and D60, you will be calculating coefficient of uniformity and coefficient of curvature, is nothing but D60 by D10 coefficient of uniformity, and CC is nothing but D square 30 divided by D60 into D10. So after evaluating this coefficient of uniformity and coefficient of curvature for if specifically for, I'll write it for sand. For sand, if Cu is greater than 6 and Cc lies in between 1 to 3, then we call, if all these two conditions are satisfied, then we call the sand as well graded sand. Okay, else you call it as poorly graded sand. If any of this condition fails, you call it as poorly graded. For sand, we have Cu greater than 6. The difference for the gravel, write it with the black pen. All things remaining same. For gravel, I'll have the limit of 4. So rather than 6, I'll use Cu greater than 4 limit. So everything remaining the same. If this all conditions are satisfied, then we call it as well graded gravel, else we call it as poorly graded gravel. So this particular grain size distribution is based on the assumption that you have got less than 5% of the finer fraction, remember. So similar to the unified soil classification system, so if you have got the fine grained soil, we just now seen of the coarse grained fraction, but if you got this fine grained soils, for fine grained soils, Indian Standard Code suggests us to use the plasticity chart. The plasticity chart, here we got the minor modification. Indian Standard have brought about the limit of Ci or Mi or Oi. I means clay of intermediate compression or compressibility. Clays of intermediate compressibility. So if it is a Cl, it means clay of low compressibility. Similarly, if it is a Ml, silt of low compressibility. If it is got Ol, organic soil of same low compressibility. So everything just remaining the same. And also we have got a CH, MH or OH. CH means clays of high compressibility, and rest of the thing, here is only silt and here is only organic soil, but H, suffix H indicates high compressibility, L indicates low compressibility, I indicates intermediate compressibility. So based on these definitions, I brought about you the plasticity chart. So this chart is as shown in the figure. You have got the boundary classification for all these low compressibility, intermediate compressibility and high compressibility of value equal to 35%. So if you have a liquid limit less than 35%, then we call it as low compressibility. If you got a liquid limit in between 35 to 50%, then we call it as intermediate compressibility. And if I got the limit greater than liquid limit greater than 50%, then we call it as highly compressible clays. So here we got a clear idea, but in previous unified soil classification system we have just the liquid limit less than or greater than 50%. So this plasticity chart is for as per your Indian standard soil classification system, that means ISCS, Indian standard soil classification system. This chart is there. So you have to calculate liquid limit as per the Coarse-grained tool and apparatus. You need to find it out the water content corresponding to 25 number of blows. So you need to find it out water content based on the 25 number of blows. That's what is recommended by the Coarse-grained. And you need to again find it out the plastic limit in order to calculate this plasticity index, which is the subtraction of liquid limit and the plastic limit. So by just determining plastic limit and liquid limit, you need to find it out where exactly it is lying onto this curve. In many times GATE or in any competitive examination, this curve is not been, or this chart is not been given, and you're asked to calculate the, or you're asked to classify the soil. Here the key is only to remember the equation of A line. The equation of A line is 0.73 WL minus 20, which is again remaining the same. So you need to find it out where your IP, or that is the plasticity index, will be located and where is your liquid limit. So just by getting all this to point, you can find it out where exactly your point is locating, and based on your point of location you can tell with the confidence that yes, it's a clay with low compressibility or whether a clay of intermediate compressibility. Like this you can tell to the others, or you can classify a soil based on the same parameters. So if you remember, if you have got a liquid limit greater than 50%, we have end up with the soil which is very highly compressible, and the highly compressible soil which has got a huge water content. You need to have you need to have a very conscious when you have such kind of soil at your practical condition, or when you are end up with the site which has got high natural water content even greater than 50%, or even liquid limit of which is greater than 50%. So in practical purposes, for practical uses, the soil which has got water content even greater than 50% is neglected. But because of the space constraints and because of various constraints, you are asked to build a structure over very poor strength of a soil by improving its strength and by reducing its compressibility characteristics and all. So particularly this will again depend on the mineralogical composition, because all this type of the exercise are related to the fine grain. Particularly I'll specify a clay soil, so it depends on the behavior of the minerals in the clays. So right now we are at the end of this chapter, that is soil classification system. But remember, I would like to highlight one more point over here, is that the soil classification system, yeah, it gives us the fair representation of the soil. It gives us the how the soil will behave in the field, but it truly doesn't eliminate the usage of extensive usage of ground investigation. So remember, ground investigation, in which you take a borehole and you will take a representative sample and you will correlate with all these index properties, and you will try to find it out a balance between these index and engineering properties. And once this relationship is established at particular site location, you can use it as long as your project is ongoing, and based on your construction sequence and construction phases, you can go on modifying the design as well, based, because the soil is or rock soils or rock, they have got spatial variability. That means its property its value, its quantity, quality, everything changes with the space. So you need to have a proper judgment of all this in order to optimize your design of the foundation, and in order to also optimize your design of the structure, because structure ultimately has to communicate or has to interact with the soil. So this is the end of this chapter, soil classification. Thank you.